Alrighty, welcome back to Monday Morning Mindset Masterclass. This is episode or edition number 6, whatever you want to call it. I'm happy to be with you here from actually sunny Vancouver. There's some clouds in the sky, but it's largely sun. This is real sun you're getting on me right now, so that's amazing. Um, Almost swore there. I'm so excited. And anyway, it's good to be here. It is Monday morning. It's a little after. It's about 11:15 Mountain Time, um, and I'm excited to be here with you today. So um, I I I have something prepared, and just as I go, I'm just going to make a note here at the bottom, which I didn't have a chance to write in before. As I go, apologize for that. One last thought that I want to get across before I get jumping in here. So, all right, here we go. All right, so here we go. My apologies. The today's Monday Morning Mindset Masterclass is about action, and but let's just start with a quick review. Actually, before we get into the quick review, I just want to say, like, this is a session about action. Okay, I'm going to encourage you to take action. I'm going to talk about why you might be not taking action, or why you might not be seeing results in the action you're taking, and give you, my intention here is to give you some tools to move the needle, get some progress, move things forward in your life, in your goals, move your dreams closer towards reality. But I would be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to take action today. So before I forget, I want to say at the end of the call, I'm going to put up a slide where you can go. There's a link there for it is called, what is it called? Goals Acceleration Coaching Call, and it's free. And I just want to give you a chance to take one action today immediately. You can do that. You can schedule a free hour call with me. That's worth over $500, and I want to help you in any way I can within that hour and beyond, but especially within that hour. I want to give you a chance to get some practical help to move something forward in your life. It's a goal, a dream, vision, anything you want. I want to help you take action on that. So I'm going to give you a chance to take action. And when you take that chance, I'm going to reward you by helping you take at least one more action beyond that. So stay tuned for that. Don't run away. And if you're watching this, you could skip forward, but I appreciate if you watch and enjoy what I have to share here before you dig in and do that. So here we are. Let's dig right in. The three, just a reminder, 3 of my key principles for healthy mastermind. Number 1, again, is that your mindset matters, and your mindset matters because you being content matters. If you're not achieving your goals, if you're not seeing your dreams become reality, if you're not seeing your life move forward in some positive way that you're wanting it to move forward, you're probably frustrated. And frustrated people are not content. It's not bad to be frustrated in the sense that it can motivate you to take new action, different action, which we're going to talk about obviously today lots. But that frustration can lead to action, which can make changes in your life for the better. So that's awesome. But you don't want to stay in frustration permanently or 24/7, right? You need some moments of contentment in there where it's like, okay, I was frustrated. I did this. I got this result. I'm content, at least with that result. I'm content for a moment, or at least I can take a breath. I can relax for a bit. This happened to me yesterday. I was finishing my taxes for this year, as you know, June 15th. If you're self-employed, you have till June 15th here in Canada. So I didn't intend to take it right down to the wire, and I didn't quite take it right down to the wire. But the way these things usually go for me, because it's not, even though I'm in the financial services, doing your taxes is not my favorite thing to do. So I sometimes procrastinate that. I fail to take immediate action on that. And And so when I was doing it yesterday, I've been working on it off and on for a while, and I had my taxes owing down to the level that I wanted, which was 0 additional taxes to pay, and that I was very happy with that. But I wasn't happy with the fact that I felt like it was not complete. So I wanted to make it, even though the number was accurate, I wanted to make the content accurate and as filled out as possible. So it's been quite a bit of work, especially over the last week, working on that. And and it got down to 0. And then I looked at, as I was about to file it yesterday afternoon, I thought, okay, well, let me just review it, right? So I reviewed it, and I thought, this number doesn't look right. And it had been auto-filled by the tax system that I'm using. And I thought, that doesn't look right. So I think that should be 0. So I changed that number from 40,000 to 0. And I thought, okay, that's accurate. That's true. The result was a $13,000 all of a sudden taxes owing. You can imagine how that kind of freaked me out. So I canceled some plans that I had, and I dug into, okay, what's going on here. So I did some research. I found out that, in fact, that number that was supposed to be in there that I'd made 0 was actually accurate. So I put it back in there. Long story short, I did some other things to fill out and complete everything the way it should be done, and got that number back down to 0. So now I'm happy. I'm content, right? I took action. I was frustrated. I took action. The action led to a positive result. It doesn't always, but I was content that it was completed. I was content that the new amount owing was 0, and I was content that I had filled it out. I'd given the correct contextual information. So that made me content, and I'm feeling very content today because of that. So, at least in part. So your contentment matters, and so taking action to move things forward is important. And that's why your mindset is important. So, number 2, key principles of your mindset. I'm sorry, my camera is shaking here. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset, and you should build up your assets. And if you're your greatest asset, you should build yourself up. One way you do that is by having a mindset that helps you move forward and achieve, however you want to word it, the things that you want to do in your life. So, and the third key principle is take one action today. That today part is important. Action is great, but planning to take action in the future is not as good as taking action today. And there's lots of research on this. An imperfect action now is better than a perfect action later. Probably because there's no such thing as perfection. I mean, technically there is in certain technical skills and things, but generally speaking, there's no such thing as perfect, right? There's close to perfect. So if you're hoping for perfect, waiting for perfect, but not taking any action, you're going to miss out. So imperfect action, take one action today. So, and okay, that's it. We're going to move on. More about action. So today's, I didn't expect all that side note there about my taxes, but it's all good. So it fit the point. Action is one of the 3 key keys. Action is one of my 3 keys to mindset. Let me put that clearly. It's also one of my 5 core values. The other ones being honesty, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, encouragement, which we talked about last week, resilience, which we're going to talk about next week, and then transformation, which we're going to talk about the week after that. So today I'm speaking specifically about taking action that moves your life forward, that moves your dreams forward, and turning them into goals, and then moves your goals forward and watching them become reality. So that's the kind of action we're talking about today. Now I know if you're like me, and you're at least a little bit like me because you're watching this, so you're at least there's some connection there where you identify with me in some way. If you're like me, like I said, you want to see your dreams realized, right? You want them to come to fruition in some form, in some way, in some period of time. And you also, those may still be goals in your mind, dreams in your mind, but you may have already transferred those into goals. You may have written them down and put dates on them. And that's what makes them goals, right? So you may have all done. You want to see those goals realized, and you want to see your life move forward. That's another one of my big themes in my life is move forward, right? So that's I think what you want, right? The problem is, even if you're moving forward, you're not moving forward as quickly as you want. You're not necessarily moving forward in the direction that you want. You're not moving forward towards contentment as much as you want. You're maybe moving forward in ways that are frustrating and difficult and challenging to you that seem like they shouldn't have to be that way. So that's a problem. We want to try to help you address that problem. Now, you may know why you're struggling to move forward with that goal. Let's call it a goal just for simplification. You may know why you're not moving forward or not moving forward very fast. You may be able to guess why. Maybe you don't know for sure, but you're kind of guessing, I think it's this, I think it's that. Or you may absolutely have no clue why you're not moving forward or not moving forward very quickly towards realizing your goals. Now, there's some common reasons why people don't move forward. I'm not going to go into great depth on all of them, but I'm going to chat about, I've got to watch my time because I've got another appointment after this. There's some common reasons why you may not be moving forward as fast as you want or at all. And the number one for most people is fear, right? Fear is a big one. Fear attacks us from every different angle in our life. It comes through our own self-doubt. It comes through experiences of failure, and those get kind of brought back to mind and into our memories. And other people are afraid, and they put that fear on us. That happened to me for many, many years growing up. I was subject to someone else's fear, and there's all kind of ways that fear sort of attacks us. But those fears could be things like fear of failure, right? That's an obvious one. Afraid to fail. A less obvious one that people don't often think about too much is fear of success, right? I'm going to dig in that a little bit just because it's not as common or as obvious to think about. So fear of success could be anything from, well, if I do this, let's say I achieve this thing, right? This amazing thing I want to achieve. I write my first book, right? I've always wanted to do that. I write my first book. Well, if I write my first book, well, what else am I going to say? I don't know what else to say. I'm going to put everything I have in that first book, right? I'll have nothing else to say. Secondly, maybe people will expect more of me, right? And maybe that's all I have. Maybe that thought or those ideas in that book are all that I have. Maybe there's nothing more in me, right? This is a fear. I'm not saying this is true. Or it's going to change my life in a way that if it's successful and it sells a lot of copies and I become famous. I don't think that about me, but if that's where your brain goes, well, ultimate success, right? I write this book, I become famous. Well, now I've got all these other obligations, all these like expectations on me, and I'm not sure I want that, right? These don't necessarily happen consciously. These are subconscious thoughts that happen for most people. So if they fear success, right? Everything that goes along with success, the trappings of success, well, now I have to be an a-hole, or people think I'm an a-hole, right? All these different things that come with that. Anyway, let's move on. Fear of embarrassment. This goes along with fear of failure, right? But you could succeed, but still embarrass yourself, right? You could trip on the way to get your reward, right? For this great thing you did. Yeah, that happens. People get embarrassed, right? Embarrassment happens. I don't know of anyone who literally died from embarrassment. And embarrassment, actually, as I think about it, I haven't thought about this before, but embarrassment, I think, is a form of shame, right? Like, embarrassment is you're ashamed that you did something. I think I've got to unpack that, but anyway, shame is a big one for a lot of people. A lot of people experience shame. Fear of change, right? Well, if I achieve this, if I make a bunch of money, well, then I have to figure out what to do with my money, or I'm probably going to move. I'm going to want to buy a new car. These are all stressful things. I don't know if I want to do all that, right? I'll just stay where I am, right? Could be change of the people around you, right? Change relationships. If I become successful, Well, I'm going to have more money than all my friends. They're not going to relate to me. I'm going to lose my friends. I don't know who my new friends are going to be. Am I going to make new friends? Like, it's kind of overthinking about stuff, right? And then, of course, that goes with the fear of the unknown, right? What will happen? What's over there? If I walk through this door, if I walk through this gate, if I open this window and climb through whatever it is, if I move forward, what's over there? I've never been over there before. What happens? I don't know. It's scary. So these are all different common kinds of fear, and you know all this. You've thought about all this before. I'm just sort of summarizing it here for you. Um, Another reason why a lot of people don't move forward is a scarcity mindset, and this is a big one that I've had to overcome over time. There's a belief in many circles, in many communities, in many belief systems, religious or otherwise, that that there's not enough to go around for everybody. And so I have to scratch and I have to claw and I have to maybe steal, or I have to like prevent you from winning, because if you win, there's not enough for me. And that's all scarcity mindset, right? That there's not enough to go around. If you have something, that means I can't have any or have enough, right? If you have too much, you stole it from someone, because there's only just, maybe there's just enough for everyone to have just enough, right? There's not enough for everyone to have abundance. So it's not true. It's absolutely not true. There's plenty to go around. And if that's something that you struggle with, I encourage you to think about, dig into, research, Google, whatever, what abundance mentality means, and Google stories about like how much money is created in the world, how much wealth is created, how many millionaires and billionaires are there, like versus 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, right? There's lots of money to go around, and the fact, if you don't have as much as you need at the moment or as much as you want right now, that doesn't mean that person having an abundance took any from you necessarily, right? Like, they took their opportunities, they did their thing, they risked, they did and they received that, right? You just haven't made those decisions, right? And part of the reason why they made those decisions, or took those actions, is because they believed that was there for them to do, right? If your belief is that there's no point in doing, there's no point in trying because there's not enough, I'll never have, I'll never get, I'll never become, that's where you're going to stay stuck, right? So think about and look into what an abundance mindset means. Another way to tackle that scarcity mindset is by consciously being more generous, right? So if you go to a restaurant, and this is a hot topic right now, so I'm not trying to polarize anything here, but if you go to a restaurant and if you normally tip, let's say, nothing, right? Some people tip nothing; they just don't. Um, Tip 5%, right? Start tipping 5%. If you normally tip 5, tip 10, right, etc. Don't tip 100 necessarily, but if you're a good tipper already, then think of another way to be generous, right? um, whatever that is. There's lots of ways you can be generous. If you're among the people who and this is part of a scarcity mindset, is to think that I believe in charity and I'm my number one charity. That's a mindset I've had before. I do believe everyone is their own charity. I don't think that's necessarily automatically a scarcity mindset. You do have to look after yourself. But if you have enough to cover your basics, or if you're struggling, like sometimes I've heard lots of stories where people are like, I didn't have enough, right? But I had more than that person, so I gave them something, right? Yeah, I know lots of examples of that I'll maybe get into in the book. But even when you have little or have less than you need, if you see someone with less than you and you give them something, that's an act of generosity, and that, I believe, God or the universe, whoever you believe in, will return that to you. There's actually ancient texts that say that, right? If you give to other people, what you give is pressed down, shaken up, and then returned to you bigger than what you gave. So you don't have to even have enough to give and to be generous. Um, Again, I'll get into lots of stories about that in the book, I'm sure. But another way to do that to deal with a scarcity mindset is just to put others first, right? If it's, let someone go in front of you in the restaurant, in the lineup for food, right? Or coffee, whatever it is. If the option is you or the other person, choose the other person. Sometimes, not every time, right? Don't make yourself a martyr about it. But sometimes just choose to let the other person have the only cookie, right? Or whatever it is. That's a great way to get out of a scarcity mindset. Some things that that you're used to having or used to, you feel like are normal or sort of like, I don't want to say entitled because that's not where I'm going with this thought, but you just think, well, that's just my thing. I just do that. Once in a while, just say no to that. Just choose not to do it, right? You could call it fasting from, right? Once a week, just don't go to Starbucks or whatever. So once in a while, just say no to something that you normally do that you enjoy, and not as a self-punishment way, but just to go, I'm just going to take a break from that this one time. And that creates an abundance in another way, right? So, it sounds simple and trite maybe, but, you spend $5 less in Starbucks this week. Well, that's $5 more you have to save, invest, or whatever, like put towards, buying flowers for your kitchen table, something like that, something that spruce up your life or someone else's life, right? And then the other thing here, I think, is a way to combat scarcity mindset is to find somebody who complements what you do or what you have, or complements something about you. You can fit well together and collaborate on something, create a partnership on something, right? Well, let's go together. You have a strong left hand, I have a strong right hand. Let's put those together and let's go help someone build something. Let's go help a neighbor fix a deck. Let's go whatever, right? Let's put our skills together in a way that we can sell ourselves together and demonstrate more value than we can by ourselves. It's a kind of synergistic thing, right? That's a great way to beat a scarcity mindset. Now, the third key thing that you may be keeping you from reaching your goals or keeping your actions from not producing the fruit you want is you may be off track, right? You may be off track completely. That's possible, but I'm trusting you're a decent person and you have a valuable thing to offer the world, and you're trying to do that. So I'm not going to say you're completely off track, but maybe you're a degree or two off track. And you've seen those illustrations, I'm sure, where, if you take a straight line right to the horizon, if you take a 1 degree off of that, just 1 degree, by the time you get to the horizon, those two lines are miles and miles, or tens or hundreds of miles apart, right? But in the beginning, it just looks like one slight adjustment. But that slight adjustment takes you in a whole different path over time, right? You may need to get that degree shift activated in your life. And one way to do that is to take a step back, right? Just take a step back, take a deep breath, go, okay, what direction am I going and where does that head? And is that where I want to go? And if I don't end up there, is it okay? What if I end up over there? What if I end up over there? Is that okay? What'll happen, right? Will my world fall apart? Probably not, right? So something like that, a degree shift in what you're doing, it's small enough that it's easy to make. You can go down a slightly different path for a while. And if you see that, okay, that was not a good decision, then you can get back on the track you were on, right? Or you can cross the track you're on and go to a slightly different path, the other direction, right? Before you're too far away from your original path, right? So that's an easy one to do. Sort of camera here. This table's very shaky, and I keep bumping it. Another way is to get a friend, family member, someone who knows you to give you an outside perspective. Say, I'm struggling with this thing. I'm trying to move this thing forward. I'm having trouble. Can you see anything in me? Just one thing. Don't inundate me with 100 things you think I need to change in my life, but is there one thing that you think, or what's the one thing you think I could change that would make the biggest difference in me achieving that goal? What do you see as my friend? You've known me for a while. I know you care about me. What's one thing I can do, right? and ponder that one thing. One thing might be tough to hear, but ponder it. Think about, okay, well, like I said, if I make that shift and I go and I don't like the result, I don't mean it's uncomfortable. I just mean it's taking me in a place I don't want to go. You can easily shift back to where you were, right? Or shift back to where you were, keep going there for a while, and then try that again, right? Maybe the timing's just not right. Like that could be relative to all kinds of things, career, relationship, all kinds of things, right? Timing isn't just right to do this thing or to go that direction. So stick to the path you're on and then make that shift later on, or try that shift later on. Another way to do it is to get a coach or a guide, someone who doesn't necessarily know you well at all. And that person, that person can just evaluate you cold, right? Like I don't have any relationship with you, so it's like I don't know the ins and outs of your personality, this and that. So I can just kind of observe you for the first time and see things that the people that are close to you won't necessarily see. But also a coach or a guide can have a perspective on, well, I'm familiar with these other systems. I'm familiar with these other people, these other stories of things that went a certain way because the person took certain action. You can take that certain action too, right? Think of Henry Ford, right? Henry Ford wanted to automate, I don't know if automate was the word he would have used, but he wanted to make more cars faster, right? And he looked at different things. There's no one in the car business yet doing anything like the assembly line. So he went to a different industry, went to the meatpacking industry, and he observed how they take an animal through the process from, alive to grocery store, right? And he basically flipped that on its head. They took tracks that were around along the ceiling. He made tracks around along the floor. And he converted that into the automotive industry that we know and love today, especially if you're in that industry. You love that industry. You love that Henry Ford did that. So a coach or a guide, someone with outside perspective is great for that. The other thing you can do is you can start from scratch. You can set your idea down and you can stop it, or you can just put it aside for a minute and create a whole new thing, right? Just start from scratch. If I was to start this business from scratch today, here's what I think I would want differently, right? I would want this and that and that and that. Okay, well, what does that look like? And just lay that out, right? And then take a look at that, compare that to what you had before. It's going to look probably very different. But if you think about what moving forward this way looks like, it actually is probably a lot better. Or at least there's some parts that you can add to what you have, starting to blow up your business. But, take some ideas that you thought there and then apply them over here. And that may open things up to start create some change for you. So the other thing, sometimes, you just need to take a break, right? Just take a break, take a rest, right? Go for a walk, go to a movie, go away for the weekend, just do something different. I remember when I started in the hearing aid business years ago, it was funny. I didn't realize it because the first 3-4 months, I don't know if I took any vacation at all. Which is fine, right? New job and all that. But I was studying, I was learning, I was growing, growth curve, all that. And it was roundabout, so March, April, May, June. In the first 3 months I spent basically studying and learning and testing out my ability to test in hearing and sell hearing aids. In the 4th month, I had learned enough that I was good to be mentored, not specifically on how to do all that, but on sort of the route that I was going to take on. So I went around with this guy for a whole month. I followed his route, observed everything he did, what he said, how he interacted with clients, patients. And then in the 5th month, I was on my own, completely on my own to do that same route, right? So while there were still things I had to learn, my point is that where I'm going with this is, once I started on that route was on a 4-week cycle, right? So the first week of the month, or the first month, sorry, actually it was the first Tuesday. First Tuesday of the month, you went here and there and there. Second Tuesday of the month, So when there was 5 Tuesdays in a month, I had a break, right? Just a break in the system was a natural break. So what I did that first time that I had that break in my pattern was I did something completely unrelated to work. I built something in my garage. I tore something apart. I fixed the fence. I did something, whatever it was, right? Um, it was just completely freeing. I didn't even think about it until after I went back to work. And I thought, when I went back to work, the things that I learned and that sort of like mind shift of like that growth curve of struggle learning in the first you know months of doing this new position. I took the break, did something completely different, went back, and then the things that I had learned before started to click. They started to make sense, right? Because I hadn't thought about them for a week. I took a break, completely different things. Did something physical, whatever, like just nothing like I was doing at my job. And that break was huge for me. So I really look forward to that every time it came along. And it was kind of a forced, vacation, which didn't always fit very well, um, but that's okay. I enjoyed that week off to do something completely different, just a rest of my brain and a rest of my actions to do something completely different. Um, Another thing is, you you sometimes you need to take to get some help, to get some clarity. I've done this a few times in my life, and sometimes if you're skilled at how to do this, like I've been trained in how to help other people get this clarity, so I can do it myself on myself. Um, but if you're not, find someone who is skilled to help you get that clarity. And there's a system that I use, and that's my point isn't to advertise that, but just to say there's a system I use where I can go through and reevaluate, where I'm at with a thing, and I can bring out some new insights and help myself sort of narrow down the focus of what it is that I'm doing, what I'm working on, and that's been extremely useful for me. And it's something that, like, on an idea, sometimes you get into an idea, you start a thing, and you're like, okay, I just got to go do it, right? And that's good. I don't despise the day of small beginnings, but as you go, you need to clarify, you need to fine tune, you need to focus more, and you become more clear yourself on what you're doing and why you're doing it and who you're serving and how you're serving them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So an outside guide or coach can help you do that if they're skilled and trained in how to do that. So if you take advantage of the link I'm going to put up in a bit, and you book in that free 60-minute goals acceleration call, we can chat about that if that's something you want to talk about. Anyway, but that clarity, the more clear I get on who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, where I'm doing it, who I'm doing it with, and who I'm doing it for, it's amazing how things start to open up and start to really move forward for you when you get that clarity yourself. So I can't overemphasize that enough. It's something that has been so pivotal to me in my life, probably more than anything else, is to get super clear. The clearer you are, the easier it is to see fruit from your actions and to see your actions move things forward. It's not the only thing that helps, but it's super, super, super important to have super clear clarity about things. All right. So as a guide, as someone who can help you with taking action, who am I? Who am I to say take action? Well, speaking of what I just talked about, that clarity, I've spent, it's now going on over 3 years, but um, at a certain point last year, it had been 2.5 years of me networking, right? And trying here and there, I've taken time away here and there to kind of seek a little bit more clarity for myself on what I was doing and why I was doing it. And actually not roundabout, it was exactly like October 2nd, or I think it was October 2nd last year. Um, I was at this networking event and I'd been doing some of this work. And this was the first time I'd had a chance to really try it out. So I was at this networking event, and normally for me, just give you an idea, what my perspective on where I'm coming from on this whole topic is, right? So 2.5 years of networking, not really getting any not from the networking itself. I wasn't getting anyone say to me, "Oh, hey, you're someone I really want to work with. You're someone I really want to refer to people. I know someone who'd be perfect fit for you." Right. So I wasn't getting that. I didn't love networking. I hated it. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do it. Found it as a necessary thing, like almost like cold calling. You don't want to do it, right? And I'm ambivert. I'm half introvert, half extrovert. So most of me, when it's uncomfortable, I'd rather just go off by myself and watch a movie or kind of zone out in a book or do something else, right? So I wasn't loving the networking. And long story short, my goal when I started networking, because I hated it, was to have one connection, to build just have one connection at that event where it's like, okay, I enjoyed meeting that person. It seemed like they enjoyed meeting me. We had a good visit. I made one contact. Awesome, right? One person I didn't know before. As I went along, I thought, okay, well, that isn't always practical in a 2 or 3 hour networking event just to sit with one person, right? So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to 2, 3 max. If I get 2 or 3, then I'm going to feel like I was successful, and then I'm going to leave and go home and get into my bunker, right? Kind of thing. Well, after 2.5 years of doing that and not getting any referrals from that process, meeting some nice people and all that, I thought, okay, I've got to do more work on this. So I worked hard on that. In that last few months in there, I really worked hard on clarifying what I was doing, why I was doing it, for who I was doing it, etc. Right. And so on October 2nd last year, I was at a networking event, and I had this new way of talking about what I was doing and why and who I was serving. And at that event, I kid you not, I was there for, I can't remember if it was a 2 or 3 hour event. Doesn't matter. But there was, I don't know how many people. There's 75 people there, maybe 50 people there. I don't even know. I didn't pay attention. But of the people there, I made, like, I counted 10 like significant interactions that I had. Wasn't 2, wasn't 1, wasn't 2, wasn't 3. It was 10 people that I talked to. And as I told this new story about this clearer story about who I was serving, why I was doing it, how I was doing it, all 10 people seemed to engage with me and be interested. And like, when they kind of, like that kind of thing, they wanted to know more. They wanted to engage. They wanted to understand. And, 10 people in one event, that was astounding to me. So needless to say, I was super excited about that. And a week later, I think it was a week later, I went to another event and I had a similar experience. 10 people, right? And most of whom I had never met before. So I thought, okay, I'm on to something here. This clarity is working. This clarity is really good. So, and I went to a third event in October, and I had a similar response. I thought, okay, 3 times in a row, I'm having a similar response, totally different response than before, because I have this clarity now. And the clarity came out in my excitement, in my energy, in it wasn't just what I said, it was how I listened, and how I interact, and the questions that I asked, because I had the clarity about myself. I knew better questions to ask other people, and so I did that. And that really literally transformed the direction of my career. From that clarity, I realized I was working with the wrong company as a partner. So I left that company. I sought out a new company to partner with, and I also launched the cohort, which I've talked about many times on this channel. I launched the cohort that month. The following month, I started a process to leave my company. So in November, I left the company I was with. December, I founded a new company and partnered with a new company, and launched my coaching business. So all things in my life changed coming out of that. Out of that clarity that I had worked so hard to achieve and had opened myself up to think about and speak about and process who I was and what I was doing differently. So all of that work has led to where I am right now and where I'm going, which is awesome things. And the actions that I took to get the clarity, and then once I got the clarity and saw, like, it wasn't that like, okay, I've talked to 3 people, I should leave now. It was like I just talked to one, someone else walked up to me, someone introduced me to someone. It was just like boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden I realized I've talked to 10 people. Holy cow, this is amazing. Right? So, and when you're excited about something and you have clarity and you talk to people, they want to introduce to other people, because not everyone has that clarity and not everyone has that excitement about what they do. So it's amazing to have that. So I've been through that. I'm going through that right now, and I'm not by any means in the tail end of it, but I've been through, what is that, 9 months of it now, almost, of this transformation. And so, while I'm not at the end, I don't know if I'll ever be at the end. I'm maybe 9 months further along than you are right now, which is just to say that I can help you get this far in. And if I help you for a month, then I'll be 10 months in, and you'll be 1 month in. Okay. So, so I have the ability to help you. And I really, really, really want to help you, because this transformation has been so significant in my life and for my business that, that I can't imagine ever going back. And I want to help other people have that shift in their mindset and in their direction and the actions they're taking, and to get some results that really move the needle for you and help you be content. So I want to do that for you. So I'm just going to put back up for, see, can I put this up? How do I do that? Banners, there it is. I want to put up this banner here. This is the link I want you to go to. There is something there called a goals acceleration coaching call, and it's free. So go to that link there, calendly.com/Coach Cory. There's no E in Cory. COACHCORY. Calendly.com/Coach Cory. Go to that link. Click on the Goals Acceleration Coaching Call. It's free. I only have it up for this week. I'm not going to do this every week. I want you to take action on this today. So you don't have to call me today. We don't have to talk today, but I want you to go right now, click that link, open that link, click on the Goals Acceleration Coaching Call. It's free. It's 1 hour of my time. It's worth over $500. And I'm going to listen. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to hear and perceive where you're at, what you're struggling with. And I'm going to help you at least unlock one thing, one action, one strategy, at least one thing that you can do with or without me, that you can just do on your own, an action you can take to help you move things forward in your life. Because being stuck sucks. And I don't want to see you stuck. I've been stuck. I'm not stuck at the moment. I'm free, and I'm content, and I'm working towards, I have 2 minutes to get to my call. So I'm going to have to cut this off. I had a couple other things, just quick thoughts there, one of which I already talked about. Do not, I'm going to say this as I leave. You can stay stuck, right? Which sucks. Or you can click that link, make that one call, and you can, let me help you get unstuck, right? And you can start that transformation, ideally the kind of transformation that I've been on the last 9 months. We can help you together. You and I will work to in that hour to help you get down a path that's similar to that one. So awesome. Do not despise a day of small beginnings. This is ancient wisdom. You may have heard it before. It's okay to start small, one small step, one small movement, one small thing. Start messy, start imperfect. Don't wait for perfect. Start small, but start. Take one action today. The one action I want you to take today is to go to that link. It's on your screen, calendly.com/Coach Cory, and go there and sign up for the free 1 hour goal acceleration coaching call. Do that. I have to run. I've got less than a minute to get to my next meeting. It's been awesome talking to you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to just put in the extra here. And we're going to put on the music to exit, and I will see you here and there, but certainly next week. All right. Cheers. Thank you very much. Let's get the music going. Here we go. And is it going? Okay. I'm going to leave the screen so the music will play. Now I'm going to turn up the volume. Let's do that. Here we go. Here's our music. Love you. It's been fun. Chat soon.